Hello, my name is Marcus David Wisenant, and I am a professor of hospitality management and culinary arts at Columbia College, located in Sonora, California. It's a community college within the California Community College system, and we're a rural school, and so we have a lot of challenges at times with building relationships with our students. We also have a lot of adult learners that are coming back to school to pursue their dream of actually working in a kitchen, becoming a baker or a chef one day. So kind of exciting for them coming back into a career that they've always wanted to do. So these a few points about how we build relationships, how I build relationships with my students. Why is this important? Well, we know that building relationships is a key to a successful classroom. When you treat your students as individuals, this will allow them to feel that they are valued in class. So you want to make sure that you embrace them. You want to listen to them. You want to call them by their first name. You don't have to be buddy-buddy with them, but treating them with fairness and building that relationship, especially on the first day, is very key. I feel that when they are valued, then they're going to put forth more of an effort than if they're not valued, if they're just coming in the class and just kind of going through the motions. I feel that as a professor, as a newly tenured professor, I've taught for, oh my goodness, I've taught for a good combined about 10 years of teaching and another 20 plus years on top of that of being in the restaurant industry. And it's an everyday learning process, and you just have to roll with the punches at times. But I think one of the main things is that grabbing these students right when they come in, right off, will lead to a successful classroom and lab experience. Best practices. So when we're talking about this for our best practices, like I always say, we want to treat our students with respect. We want to treat them how we want to be treated. Now, it's a little different, though, in our industry, with our hospitality management industry. It's a lot different from when I first started out. When I first started out, it was pretty brutal. The chef was yelling at you, throwing stuff at you. It was pretty much breaking you down and molding you into that type of chef. That doesn't fly anymore. We do things like yes chef and no chef. I require my students to call me chef. It's out of respect. They can either call me chef or Mr. I try not to tell, I tell them that my dad is Mr. Don't call me Mr. Call me chef. And so that is out of more of a respect for the industry and actually for the chef's code. Another thing, and that's safety. So if I'm talking about a safety concern when it comes to the fryer, I want my students to either say yes chef or no chef. When they say yes chef and all of them say yes chef, that means I know that they understand. Okay, I can walk away from them and they're not going to burn themselves. The no chef is no chef. I didn't get that. I don't understand. Slow down and please tell me. And like I said, I treat them how I would expect to be treated as well. We're all on the level. I do not yell. Sometimes I do raise my voice. And I'll actually at the end of the day, I'll apologize. I'm sorry I raised my voice, but we were just on a time constraint and all that. But that's business. I teach them, about the real world, and that it's not going to be what you see on TV. It's going to be a lot of hustle. Best practices too that I like to follow is I follow from day one, actually. So we have an all-campus orientation, and with that all-campus orientation, that's all the freshmen who are going to be enrolled that coming fall. They attend these orientations, and there's about 7 of them. So there's 7 of them going through the summer. I just completed a couple of them the other day. I have a couple more throughout the summer that I go to. And what I do is I open up the kitchens. I open up the kitchen labs to all the students. Even if you're not in the program, I want to show off the kitchen. I want to show off our facilities. We have a lot of people always walking by and looking in, and they really want to know what's going on in there. We have a student-run cafe. We have a student-run bistro. that we do. I tell them about that. I give them menus. We hand out gift certificates at times, especially during raffles. And we want to get all the students involved in that program. That way, it has that sense of community there where, you know what, you guys aren't in the program, but you're always welcome to come in and eat. We do pop-up bakeries, and I'm always grabbing some sort of baked good and popping in on meetings, especially student meetings, and dropping in food and asking them if they're doing okay. Even if they're not in the program, we're all in that family together. So I get them on that campus orientation. And then I'll have a handful of my students that are actually, oh, chef, it's good to meet you. I'm in these classes, blah, blah, blah. Then I can follow up with them during the summer and see if they need anything, books, uniforms, and all that. And that actually works out pretty well. Then we have a hospitality management mixer, and that's about a week before our classes start. We have alumni, we have all the instructors, our dean shows up, and we do a little bit of a barbecue, and we sit and we talk. The alumni talk to the new students, the current students that are there. It's good to see everybody. And this is where we kind of really answer questions that we can get everybody set up. Then we roll into the first week of class. With our first week of class, we start a little slow, but this is where we do our safety sheets, but we really, reinforce the rules, and we get to know our students. So we start off a little slow, and that way I can assess the needs of the students. The other instructors can assess the needs, and we get together and really chat about, what's coming up for this semester. Office hours are a big thing as well. I stick to my office hours. I am in my office a lot up there, or I'm in the kitchen labs working on something. Even if I don't have a class going on, I'll be in the corner of the kitchen working on something. And it's fun for me. It's fun for me to be around. And then my students know that they can always find me. I answer my emails within 24, 48 hours. And I just always am there for them. I think that's very important, that if they have a question, they know that they can get a hold of me, and I'll be a pretty good, quick turnaround, actually. Midterm check-ins, of course, midterms are coming up, so we check in with them. We have a system at school called Starfish, and that's an alert system that we can give them kudos. We can also give them message to the counselors if they are falling behind. So positive and negative, right? We have both of those options to make sure that we are not falling behind. If I see a student, if I see a student on the first day, they're there, maybe a couple more weeks they're there, then they start to fall off, I will actually personally reach out to them as well. Hey, what's going on? Let me know. I'm very personable with my students. My students know where I'm coming from. I talk to them about that, about how I'm busy as well. And we're all busy. We all have life, but don't let life get in the way of your studies. There are ways that we can make everything work together. Don't give up. And then we have our final check-ins. Week 16, we have 16-week semesters. Week 16 is finals week. They're not on campus that week. Everything for our classes, everything is online. They do their practical finals on week 15. That's in the lab. And then week 16, what they do is they're all online. I tell them my computer is on that whole week. I'm constantly monitoring, constantly putting in grades. So if there's something that they need, they'll pretty much be able to get a hold of me pretty much any day of that week, because it's rolling right along for that week. So as I said before, capturing the adult learner, we have a handful of students that actually that are adults, and they have been in a field for a while, possibly been in a field for 20 years, and they're done with it. We've had a lot of medical people not want to be in the medical profession anymore, and they want to bake. They want to open up a bakery or do catering or something like that. And so it's a little different because they're also in a classroom with 18-year-olds. They're with college freshmen, but it's a good mix. And so how we capture that adult learner is that we just understand where they're coming from. A lot of these adult learners I can identify with. Me being 47 years old, I can identify with having jobs and careers in the past that you didn't really like, and bosses that we didn't, we really didn't like. So we listen to them, we identify with them. I have a 7-year-old daughter, soon to be 8. So there's that connection there about, oh yeah, I need to go take care of this for my daughter, or I'm going to have my daughter this weekend, so I need to make sure what's going on, personally is not going to affect, what I need to do at work. Grad school. Hey, I've started grad school, everybody. So here's something else, another layer, that I've added to what needs to get done. And so the adult learner actually identifies with that. During the tour the other day, I was talking to one of the student council members, and they were giving the tour, and they asked me, they're like, "Chef, what are you doing in there?" Because in between the tours, I was actually working on this class, and I told them, I'm like, "Oh, I'm enrolled in GCU," and he was like, "Oh yeah, my mom's doing that right now as well." And I was like, "Yeah, it's all online. It fits my schedule, but it's just another layer of items that we have to do." So we capture that adult learner. That's how we identify with them as well. We don't use it as a crutch. I don't let them, come at me with a crutch, but I identify with them, and I think that they know I know what they're going through. So it makes them try a little bit harder as well. Differing viewpoints, of course, we're going to have differing viewpoints. That's something that's just going to happen, especially nowadays in the political climate that we have nowadays. Now, I'm fortunate enough to be I work in food and beverage, hospitality management, culinary arts. We can kind of keep the politics out of the classroom and out of the lab. And I try my best to still have a diverse conversations in there, but we keep it food related. But with keeping it food related, we have a lot of differing viewpoints about, we have vegans. I have some solid vegans in my class that will, they will taste a little bit of it. I've had to rewrite some curriculum to make sure that we're actually honoring everybody's viewpoints on that. It has not gotten to the point where I have to alter anything, but, and they understand, they know that they're going to cooking school and you're going to have to eat your product. But I open it up a little bit more towards vegan cooking and vegetarian-based cooking as well. I've opened that up the last couple of years. I've shared more recipes, and we've performed a couple more weeks on that so that everybody can be included on that. It's very popular nowadays. It's kind of going into that, where there's more vegetarian-based cooking, more vegan-based baking as well. So we'll have a few weeks of that as well. But we listen to each other. We have differing viewpoints and we listen to each other. I let everybody talk freely as long as it's not offending anybody. And at times it has become offensive, especially when we're talking about animal rights, fishing, overfishing, overpopulation. All of these are topics, hot button topics when we're talking about food. We get into agriculture, corporate farming and all that. So we all just speak freely, and I kind of moderate at times. Yes, there have been times where I've had to shut the conversation down. It was going south. A lot of conspiracy theories out there when it comes to food, but we all know that we have differing viewpoints. I, at times, will stop everyone and say, okay, we're all adults, right? We're all adults. We can keep continuing this conversation. And some people say, yes, let's do it. And I'll have others at times will say, no, we're not. I don't want to continue this conversation. And I'm like, okay, we're done. Let's figure, what else are we going to be talking about? But for the most part, when we're hospitality management, usually the classes that I teach, it's baking classes and my my culinary classes. So not a lot of differing viewpoints, but we've had some, especially like I said, a lot of hot button topics about environmentalists and corporate farming and the vegan movement. Christian worldview. Well, I just, we treat everyone like Christ wanted us to treat everyone, right? We love the neighbor. We love thy neighbor, right? And so I get up in the morning and I have a positive outlook. I am one of the lucky people that love what I do. I wake up in the morning and of course, I have my moments, but I have scored with the job. I love my job. I love my career. I'm excited about these classes, getting my graduate degree, getting my PhD one day. I'm very excited. We have a really good program. And I honestly, with the Christian worldview, I believe that we just get up and we treat each other nice. We listen to each other. We don't judge. And we just live by example as well. That's another thing too, live by example. I talk a lot about, I'm open. I'm not too open with my family. I mean, with my family, about my family with my students, but my students know that I'm a divorced dad. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and I go up to Oregon. She's about 6 hours away from me. I go up to Oregon every other weekend to see her, or she'll be with me. They know that I'm devoted to my daughter and that I bend over backwards to do anything for her and to see her as much as possible. And so by just those things about being, that you know what, my marriage didn't work out, but I can still be a supportive father. I can still do this for my daughter. So there's just a couple of things. Now, I do not get personal, but I do live by example and say, this is what I should be doing, and this is what I am doing. I treat my students with respect, the same thing. If I tell them not to do something in class, I'm not going to go do it. I'm not going to live by that, by the whole do as I say, not as I do. It's 100% do as I do. We're going to do this. We're going to do it together. I explain everything that I want them to understand in class, and I just lead by example. I leave my baggage at home, and I come in and I have a smile on my face and I enjoy my job, because I feel that if I'm just going through the motions and I'm up there all upset all the time at school, which I've seen other instructors do, it just doesn't make for a good classroom experience. Okay, thank you very much.